Hello and welcome to Sim.bc. Wait. Oh my days. Where it is 1931. And needless to say, I'm a bit tired. Why? Well, because usually I have my approach to me day. You see, usually I wake up in the morning, I go for a breakfast, I go to school, and then I record. And then I go for a walk and, play video games and study and stuff like that. But today I went to school, had a long day in school.
Very stressful.
Day at school as well, trying to salvage the entire idea of our questionnaire that I was kind of ranting about as of yesterday, but it probably kind of maybe worked out in the end. We're just gonna get the green light from the, teacher who is our main responsible teacher, and it's gonna be all good, it's gonna be all great, even though the decision is ultimately down to us, but still, we kind of need that validation. We kind of want that validation, rather. We absolutely don't need it. Or, well, not absolutely. Doesn't matter. I'm talking to myself. But today, I had a long day in school, and then I came home, and then I did all of the things that I didn't need to do before the recording. So I am a bit late, and simultaneously piling on to that, I feel a bit, not sick. Sick is probably an overstatement. It's more like I have done so many things today that I really feel drained, let's say. Which is probably why I'm feeling a bit down low at the moment, but that's not why you're here, right? That's not what you're here to listen to at all. No, you're here to listen to me rant, and that's probably not what we're gonna do today. And I know, I was saying yesterday that I had something to rant, and then believe me, mates, I do, but I just don't feel like I'm in the mood to give a 100% rant, which is, obviously important. You gotta stick on your game. You gotta be on your A game if you're gonna criticize something. Now, isn't that right? But, well, I don't feel like that today, so that is why we're going to talk about different perspectives. The matter of, well, that different perspectives actually matter. And all of you, I hope, are gonna say, that's obvious. That's bloody obvious. But this is, believe me, bear with me, going to segue into the rant that I wanted to have today, but that I'm probably gonna have tomorrow because I can't keep my eyelids open. As you can see, I can't. So that's probably what we're gonna try and lead into. And let me just build the context. Let me just set the stage, I'm a Swede. And in Sweden we have about the lowest amount of religious people in the world, I think. I mean, we're very, how can you say that in a political correct way? I think that we are politically averse. Maybe that's the right term, maybe it's not. Basically, it is that of all the countries in the world, the Nordic countries overall in general have a very low percentage of people that aren't religious in comparison to other countries. Which means that when I was raised, I wasn't raised in any particular way that had to do with religion. Ain't seeing a problem with that, now do we? So I tend to apply to logic and stuff like that, which was why I was so bloody irritated after yesterday when I got feedback that was both well constructed and well placed and needed. And I was just angry because I had to redo everything, and I was like, but it makes sense, which is so irritating. But anyway, so that is kind of the cultural caging that I'm in. I'm, raised to apply to logic. That's kind of the cultural affinity that's been around me, right? That's the cultural perception that I do have, that that society around me has pushed on me, oh, well, you know what? Logic is kind of important. Logic is kind of good. As long as people can actually make a case for why they're doing something, probably means it's going to be rather okay. Or rather, if they can appeal to your, emotional side, your sense of logic, and say, this is why we do it, and you agree, that's probably all good, all dandy. Wow. But there are many people in the world who doesn't feel like this. Yet again, this is going to be a segue into tomorrow's video. And what do I mean with this? Well, there are many people, as when I'm stating a certain opinion, people are just turning around, doing a total 180, verbally, probably, and psychologically, maybe even physically, right? They're gonna be like, hold on, wow. And you just look you dead in the eyes and say that that's wrong. Doesn't really matter what you said. You only as long as you're in the criteria of things that they do not like, they're just gonna attack you with it. Which is basically the critique that political correctness does kind of get some of the time, and I think I made a video about it as well. The idea that sometimes politically correctness, even though it's generally good, right? It brings up a lot of important issues, a lot of important things. It tends to also in some way generalize just generalize overall, really. Generalize different problems, which means that people who want to feel like they're opposite to that problem, you state that that problem is bad, doesn't really matter what opinion or perspective they're bringing, you say that's bad. Which obviously is a bad thing. But there are people out there who do this, or does this. Arguably everybody do it in, a greater or lesser extent. However, this can be a case of, or be because of religious reasons that people are like, wow, I have principles that comes and stems from religion that I follow, which means that I'm gonna be against the things that say that those principles are wrong. And as you probably know, the one thing that I do hate in this world, there are not many things that I hate, right? I hate pride, which I am, not free of, to say the least. And I really hate principles that aren't backed by anything, right? Because it's one thing having a principle, saying that I'm not gonna do this because for this reason, right? It's one thing. That means if I can disprove that reason, you probably ain't gonna feel that way anymore. However, there are equally as many people, if not even more, who say I'm not gonna do that. Why? Because I'm not gonna do that. Now, you can't really argue or apply to any sense of logic in that sort of situation. And that's, yet again, my take, right? Cultural caging of what many religious people tend to do. Now, I know that I've said in the past that I don't want to talk about religious stuff because it's just getting me into so much trouble, or it potentially could, but hey, why not? It's something that I feel is very interesting to talk about, and we've already covered some of the, all of the 7 deadly sins. We're already kind of in that ballpark, right? So what I'm thinking, is that there are many people that I've spoken to. Yet again, this comes down to probably personal preference, personal experience, right? And personal perception as well, and yet again, cultural caging. But based on my life, the people that I've interacted with, most of the people tend to hold these different principles that they can't really back, tend to also be religious. And of course, this isn't the only source of why you can do these kinds of things. You can be highly political, right? You can be towards one party and really against the other one, even though if I bring up a well-structured and well-argued point for the thing that you're opposite to, you're still saying, nah, that's not good. When you, in all honest reality, probably agree, because you later on state that you agree in the discussion. However, you say, oh, well, they say the same thing. Well, it's good when we say it and bad when they say it over there. And you're just like, wow, mate, really? So it can be much more things than religious, right? It can be political, could be, well, politics kind of covers everything in social science, now doesn't it? How people behave, you can kind of classify that as a political behavior, even though it's not an official political party. So, yeah. Politically and religious things is what I say stems these kind of principles that can't really be backed by anything. Which brings in this new, well, wow, that was segueing a long way. And as I said, this is kind of going to be the connective tissue to tomorrow's video. Or at least I hope so, that I'm kind of supplying you with some context for my potential rant if I have a bit more of energy tomorrow so that I can actually
give it that 120%.
120? I mean, 120%. You probably understood what I meant. As I said, I'm quite tired. But what I'm getting back at, trying to relate this as well to my own personal thing today, is that yesterday I was really angry, yet again, because well-constructed arguments and really good feedback that we did get. Still, I can't say that I wasn't pissed about it, right? I was a tad bit angry. Even so, I was angry enough to go on the internet and make a 20-minute video about how angry I was. So we can say for certain that there was some feelings there, that might have been misplaced. Maybe. And try to connect that back to today's thing. So yesterday I did that. Today I went and got a new perspective on things. Tried to seek out new perspectives on how could I make this questionnaire actually work. Do we need to rework the research question? Maybe. Do we need to get some other external opinions to change this tutor's perspective? Maybe that is the case. Maybe we have the wrong perspective, and by seeking out other tutors, by seeking out other professors, we can gain a greater understanding of the lack of perspective that we do have. Which is kind of interesting, right? Which is kind of what tended to happen. That's actually what did happen. So tomorrow we're gonna double check that with our tutor if he's there, and hopefully it's gonna be all good, it's gonna be all fine, it's gonna be all dandy. With a bit of luck. So, perspectives, really important. The matter that you can change your perspective, really important. And when it comes down to the legal system, this is probably foreshadowing tomorrow's video a bit too much, but that's a matter of perspective now, isn't it? Lots of the different laws that we have, sure they're written down, but a lot of them, especially when it comes to some crimes that aren't really specifically stated in that context and that specific situation. Now, I'm not an expert by any means, but this is what I've heard, right? And what I've read about it, comes down to the interpretation of the law. Different sides' interpretations of the law. That's why we have lawyers and why we have prosecutors, because it comes down to an interpretation of what that law actually means in modern society, in modern context, in that specific context. Experts in the area who can actually tweak around the idea of what does this law actually means. And sometimes they're very clear cut. For instance, you shouldn't steal and you stole. Kind of caught with your hand in the cookie jar there, right? I mean, it's not that much you can do, but if it's for something a bit more abstract, like for instance, did you actually trespass when there is no actual evidence that you did, but we need a confession? But even if you confess, this doesn't really hold up. How old are you? In what context was this? Was you forced to go in there? Was it a matter of emergency? There are lots of different perspectives that you can come up with there. But when it comes down to it, it's a lot to do with perspectives. Some of the times when it's a bit more of an abstract discussion. Something that we're probably going to talk a lot about tomorrow in conjunction with politics and religion. Maybe. I'm not saying that it's gonna be, right? But it's probably gonna be like that, because I've read some things that made me really angry, right? Really irritated. And that's based on that I think that I have the perfect opinion, right? Which I absolutely do not. But sometimes I just feel like, wow, that should really transcend politics, or wow, that should really transcend religion, or wow, that should really transcend gender, or whatever, right? There are some things that I just feel that should transcend everything, because it's so obvious. And then you can see someone go against that statement and you're just like, dude, why are you doing this? Now, one can argue that since I'm talking about the matter of the importance of changing your own perspective, and I'm saying that I have that one good opinion that I don't change, but that's just because I haven't been faced with anything that's better than that opinion. Yeah, see what I'm saying? That might be a defense mechanism for me, but hopefully I don't present it like one. It's meant not to be like one, right? But sometimes subconsciously it can be. But anyway, mates, that was everything for me today. I'm probably gonna sleep after this. No, I'm not. I'm going to edit this stuff. Why? Well, because it's just 8:15 right now, and I'm probably gonna be done 8:45. Oh yeah. So have a nice one, mates, and I'll see you tomorrow with maybe the bit of rant that I promised you today. We'll see how it all goes. See how it all turns out. Have a nice one, mates. See ya.